Hey, what's up everyone? So in the last video, I showed you how to process payment with Stripe. When you click checkout, such that this will take you to this checkout page, which is already made by Stripe. So our work was just to pass the data here and calculate the totals, and then we customize this a bit by adding shipping and so on. But in this video, I want to show you how you can keep a record of the payment on your own database. Okay, remember, the payment that you process here will only be available on Stripe, but how can we keep a record of that in our own MongoDB database? So that means creating an order, okay, in our DB. So that is what I want to show you in this video using Stripe webhooks. So with Stripe webhooks, you can be able to raise events using Stripe that will be running or will be calling an endpoint, and then that endpoint can create the record in your DB. So the first step is just to go to the developers dashboard, and then you'll see webhooks right here. Okay, webhooks. So click on webhooks, and right here you can be able to see local listeners. And once you click on add local listener, you'll see instructions on how to go about it locally, because you need to test it before you can actually deploy it. Okay, so once you test it locally, you can be able now to create a webhook on Stripe. Right here you see hosted endpoints. You can be able now to create a hosted endpoint right here, and now this will be in production. So we need to start with a local so that we can test everything. So I'll add local listener here, and I won't actually add anything, but the most important thing is the instructions that are here, because this will help you to understand everything. So you need to have what we call Stripe CLI to begin with. So download CLI and log in with your Stripe account. So right here, you can open this on a new tab and see instructions on how to download the Stripe CLI. And we have several ways: Homebrew, Scoop, Mac, Linux, Windows, etc. So what I used myself is Scoop. So you can install Stripe CLI with Scoop. So click on this one to install Scoop. Most likely you don't have it, and you need to use PowerShell. So just copy this command right here. This is for Windows. If you're using Mac, you can follow the other instructions, but this is what I did. So the next step is to open PowerShell. So just search for PowerShell right here, open, and then just paste that command, this command right here, paste it there, hit enter to install Scoop. Once Scoop is installed, the next step is to install Stripe. Okay, so to install Stripe, you'll copy this command right here, copy that command, then go back to your PowerShell, and what you will enter now is that particular command. Okay, hit enter. Once it's successful, the other command that you will run is this one, Scoop install Stripe. So just copy that, and then you will now run that particular command at your PowerShell like that, and that will install Stripe. Okay, now I will recommend that you use the command terminal. Don't use VS Code terminal. For some reason it doesn't work for the next steps. Okay, so on your terminal, this is now the next step that you need to take. So I'll just cancel this and cancel this. We have now Stripe installed, I'm assuming that, and the thing that you need to run is Stripe login. Okay, so now at this point, this is why you need to write Stripe login. Okay, not that, sorry. You need to have Stripe login right here. Hit enter to log into Stripe, and actually I'm already logged in, so I don't know if I can log in again though. And it will bring you something like this. You'll hit any key to log in or C to quit. So for me, I think I'll just quit. Okay, so C, I'll quit. Actually it's bringing me the dashboard, so I think I used the wrong command, but you can go ahead and allow access right here. It doesn't matter. Okay, cool. Now the next thing that you need to do is to call an endpoint right here. So forward events to your webhook. So for that, you need to have a particular endpoint in your code, okay? And the endpoint will look something like this right here. So what I'll do, I'll just copy this code, and then I'll go to my Visual Studio Code, and after Stripe webhook right here, I'll just paste that code, okay? But I'll manipulate it because we are working on a router and not the actual app. So right here, I'll remove app.recent because we already have that on index.js. And then at the very top, I will remove these imports and also these comments right here. I will remove them. And then right here we have the endpoint secret. So this have been provided by my Stripe right here automatically. But there is also a way of getting it. Once we call this command, it will like give us the secret key. So don't worry about that for now. And then now right here, instead of app, I need to make use of router. And now we are creating an endpoint called webhook. We are using express.row, type to be application JSON, request response. And then now these steps that are happening right here from this point to this point, those steps are for verifying that the event that calls this particular webhook actually comes from Stripe, okay? And it's very easy. It's just calling this particular method, stripe.webhooks.construct event, and then whatever we are passing is the request body from request here, and then we are passing the Stripe signature, and it's reading these from the request headers, and then we are passing the endpoint secret, which is above here. If that is successful, then it will proceed down here where we can like process a particular event, okay? Right here where we can like handle a particular event. So for now, I'm not going to handle any event actually, so I'll just remove that. And then if it fails, then it will like give you an error like this. So for you to make sure that it's working, you can like do console.log of let's say verified, webhook verified. If it's successful, if it fails, then you can say webhook. Okay, console.log, actually console.log. And what I'll do, I'll just like copy this webhook error and then the error, and I'll paste it there. And then the next thing, right here, response.send. For some reason, it will give us an error. I don't know what causes the error, but from Stack Overflow, I found that I should like add .end right here, like that. Okay. So again, this is just to verify that the webhook comes from Stripe. Okay. So go ahead and save that. Now we have this file already configured at index.js. So once we call stroke API, stroke Stripe, stroke, then stroke webhook right here, then these will be fired up whenever we have a Stripe event. So what is the next step? The next step, once you add that, is to trigger a Stripe recent on our CLI. So you need to like copy this command. Then what you need to do is to go to where you had the login, and you can enter these. But for the endpoint, now this will be localhost 5000 stroke API stroke Stripe and then stroke webhook. Okay. And once I hit enter, this should like start that listening to Stripe events. And as you can see, we have your webhook signing secret is this one. So you also have the secret right here. So you can actually copy it from here and paste it right here. And I think it's actually the same. So if I paste it down here, you'll see it's I think the same. Cool. Now what is the next step? To raise the event. And the thing is, first of all, when I come back here, you'll notice that now these will be added automatically. Whenever we run this command right here, whenever we run that particular command, then that endpoint will be added automatically right here, so you don't have to add it, okay? And you can see it's listening now. When I click back here, you can see listening to events. Now right here, you can trigger an event using stripe.trigger.this, and then it will call that particular webhook. So let's do this. So first of all, I'll make sure that everything is running right here. MongoDB is running and etc. So all you need to do is to open another terminal, not this one, another terminal, and then you use now this command right here to trigger a payment intent succeeded event to call that particular webhook. So when I hit enter here, from this I hit enter. I don't know what is causing the delay here. Yeah, I hit enter, setting up everything, and you'll see now right here we will have some events being called, but the thing is that webhook is being called, okay? And for some reason I'm getting an error. Like, I have tried to figure out this error, but I still wanted to show you about webhook, so that is why I'm creating this video, even though I have this issue. No signature found matching the expected signature for the payload, and I have this error that is coming from this particular console log. So if yours is working, please let me know at the comment section below. But it's not a must like I verify if this is working for me to create the order. Okay, I can like skip the verification part, which is actually very important for security. I just want to let you know, and once I figure out what is causing the issue, I'll let you know at the comment section below. But for now, I'll skip this part so that I show you how to actually like create the order. Before I run this try and catch block, I can have an if statement right here. So I'll say if we have the endpoint secret right here, if this exists, then we are going ahead and we will like try to verify our call, or our event call right here to this particular endpoint. Else we can be able to get the data and everything that we need from the request body directory. Okay, so right here I can like create at the top. Before these, I can create some variables. So I'll say let data, and then right here I'll have let event type like this, and then I'll also like define this as a variable right here. I'll say let endpoint secret to be this one. You can store this on an environment variable, but first of all I'll first say let endpoint to be this one, and then down here I can actually say now endpoint secret to be equal to this one. Okay, and what I'll do is that I'll omit this definition of the endpoint secret, and this way all it will do is it will omit this check, like it will avoid running this code. And once it avoid running this code, then I can be able to proceed and create the order. And once I resolve the issue with it, I can just like bring it back. Okay, and maybe I'll show you this on the next video if I'll have resolved it, or I'll leave a comment at the comment section below. So for now, I want to show you how to create the order. That is the most important thing for now, so that you can like have an idea of what to do. Okay, else now right here I can give these data and event type variables. So I can say let data now here to be equal to request, and then dot body, and then we have dot data and dot object. And another thing we can get from here is the event type. So event type to be equal to request dot body, and then dot type. Okay, so once this is successful, if this, for your case, if this is successful, then we can as well set them up right here. We extract the object from the event now, from this event, which is like now verified. Okay, so if it's successful, we need to also define them. Now right here I can say data to be equal to event, and then dot data dot object, and then the event type. So event type will be equal to event, dot type. So again, why am I doing this? Why am I using an if statement? I'm using an if statement here because for some reason my webhook is not being verified by Stripe. I haven't figured out the issue, but once I do, I'll let you know at the comment section. And we can be able to get the data and the event type directly from the request body like this. But it's good to verify these for security reasons, especially if you are like deploying your application, okay? And once I omit the definition of this webhook secret, that means that this code will be omitted and will go direct to this one, okay? And now from here, we can proceed to handling the event that will be raised, okay? Okay, cool. Now, right here, let me go ahead and perform another check. And this check will be for checking the event type. So right here, I'll just say if, and I'll say event type. If this is equal to checkout, we have many events that can be raised. One of them is checkout session dot completed. One of them is this one, checkout session completed. And if you want to see the various events, you can come right here and you can click on add an endpoint, and then you can select event, and these are all the events that Stripe can raise. And the one that we want to handle is the one that once we complete checkout process, then raise the event that you have completed so that we create an order. And once you expand these, you can see account updated and so on. And we have checkout here, and one of them is checkout session completed, okay? And that is the event that we are performing a check for right here. That is the only event that I'll use in this particular video. Now in here, if we have that event, we can go ahead and get the customer data and also the data for the payment. But now another thing is that we need to know the currently logged in user so that we create an order for that particular user. And at the very top here, we did this. We brought in the request which had the cart items, and also it had our currently logged in user. So once we process this checkout session, a customer is created automatically by Stripe, but we can be able to expand the details of that particular customer in the metadata. So what I will do is that first of all, I'll expand the details of the customer right here. So I'll say const, let's create a customer. So const customer will be equal to await, and we will await for Stripe, and then dot customers, and we will create a customer. And what we will do, we'll just include some data in the metadata property. This is where we are free to include our own key and value pairs. And the key that I'll add is the currently logged in user, which we passed from the front end. I think at the pay button right here, we were able to pass user ID, okay, and the cart items as well. So we can include them in our metadata here at our customer. And I'll say request.body, and then dot user ID. And then now right here, I can include the cart, and I'll say JSON.stringify. It should be in form of a string. So JSON.stringify, and I will include request.body.cart items, which is this one right here. I'll just copy that and paste it here. So once we create a customer like this, we can be able to include that right here. And all I'll do, I'll include the ID to that particular customer. So I'll say, let our customer be our customer. Yes, so I'll just include the ID of the customer. Okay, good. Now we have that customer. And now right here, we have this method for getting the customers from Stripe. So we need to use Stripe and then dot customers. So customers, and we have dot retrieve method. So we will use dot retrieve, and we need the ID of the customer. And that ID of the customer will now be available in our data. And the data will come from this information right here, where we have customer, then ID. So we will have a data.customer, which is our customer ID. So let's do that first. So right here I'll invoke this, and we will pass data dot customer, and then after this we will have the dot then, and in here we can use a function. We will have a customer, and we can be able to do something with the customer right here. So after then, I think right here is where we need dot catch. We get the error, and then we log this error to the console. We get the error, and we can log console dot log of error dot message. Let me save, and yeah, I think it should be this way now. And what we are doing, we are logging the customer to the console. Also, let's log the data to the console. So console dot log of, let me specify this is data of data, so that we see what we have right there. So I'll save. Okay, what are we doing? We are performing a check of this checkout session complete. We are getting the customer using data.customer. This data.customer is the ID of the customer, which we created and included right here. And then we also log the data to the console to see what we have before we try to create the order. So let's go ahead and perform a checkout from here. Okay, so I'll just come back and let's start the process right here afresh. I'll click checkout, and once this process is completed, we should be able to raise that event. So for now, when you look at this, we just have errors. Actually, we just have errors, but let's see if this will work out. So I'll create an order here, I'll perform a payment real quick. I'll enter the dummy card, and then I'll enter any future date, any CVC, and I'll pay. Once it's successful, we should raise that event and be able to log those stuff at the console. So it's processing. Once it's done, we can check at the events raised. So checkout session completed, but we have an issue, 500 posts. I don't know what caused this error. It should give us 200, but let's see what we have here. We have an error. What is the error about? Request is not defined. Okay, cool. Nice error there. So I'm using request here, but whatever I copied is the entire request name right here. So I'll change this to the short form. I'm used to just request actually, and for the response I'm used to just res. So I'll change all the responses to res right there. Okay, fingers crossed now this will work out. I'll save, and let's see, it's running. Let's perform a payment. So I'll come back here, checkout, and I think once we do this, it's actually running our events here. Now it's 200, perfect. So we don't have issues so far. Let's perform a payment. So I'll do this quick again. Now 42424242424242. Any future date, any CVSC, I'll pay. And once this is successful, we should see an event raised by Stripe. So we come to this one, and you'll see checkout session completed was successfully raised that event, and it called our webhook. Okay, and now when we come here, you can see we have some console log. Let me expand this and scroll at the top. Look, we have a lot of data here. The first one is for the data here, and this is the information of the payment. So as you can see, we have cancel URL, USD, We have information about the address. You see, we have email, we have name, we have this one. We have all these details about shipping, everything. And this is for the data, and then this one is for the customer that we fetched. So we have the customer, the ID, and then at the metadata for the customer, I think we should have the user ID. Metadata, we have the user ID, and amazingly, we have all the cart items right here. So we can use this information to create an order in our own database, which is really awesome. So let's see how we can create an order. How we can create an order is we need to create a model. Okay, so we need to create a model. So right here I'll create a new file and I'll say order.js. First of all, we create the model, and then yeah, we will proceed. Pretty nice. So I know this video might be a bit long, but these are the things that most tutorials will not cover. Okay, and I needed to cover this. Even though I was facing that webhook issue, I needed to show you how to create an order so that you have a record of your own on the DB. So right here I'll bring in mongoose. So const mongoose, and this will be equal to require mongoose, like that. And then we can say const order schema, and this will be equal to new mongoose schema. We invoke this, we pass an object. We will need the user ID for this particular order, so we'll say user ID. It will have several properties. Type will be string, and then required will be true, comma, we will have products, and for the products I can just use the cart items directly right here. Okay, so we can see the cart will have ID, name, brand, description, what else, the price, the image. Yeah, you can include all this information in the cart quantity right here. So this is like the way our product should look like, and before we save it to the DB. ID, name, brand, description, price, image. You can make some of these required if you want. Now that is products. Now down here for the order, we should know the subtotal. The subtotal will be I'll paste this. It will be type number actually, and it should be required. So I'll say number, and it's required to be true. I will duplicate this. We will have the total. So the subtotal is without shipping and taxes. The total is with shipping and taxes, like the shipping cost, taxes, etc. Total will be this one. Cool. And then we will be having the, I'll duplicate this again. We'll be having the shipping address. So right here I'll say shipping. This is the shipping address. So let me minimize this one. For this one, type will be object, required true. Object, required true. And then we will have the delivery status. Let me copy this one, paste it here. It will be type string, required. Instead of required, I'll include a default of pending. And then we will also have like payment status, payment underscore status. This will be type string, and it will be required. Let me copy this one so that I don't have to type required, but change this to string. I'll save, and there we go. So these are the order should look like this. You know, you should have shipping information. Is the products delivered? Are they pending or they have been delivered? the order, is it paid or not? Sometimes the payment might fail, so is it paid or not? The totals, the subtotals, you should have the cart items right there. And also you should have a user ID, like the specific user whose order was created for. And then we can include a timestamp so that we have a date for the order here. So I can create a timestamp here. So I'll say timestamps right here to be true. So MongoDB will automatically give us the date. And then now I can say const order. I now create the model, that was the schema. So const order will be equal to mongoose dot model. We pass order here. This will be the name of the collection now, and then we pass the order schema. We export this. I'll use exports dot order will be equal to order exports. Save. Now we have a schema. I know it took some time to type this out, but we can be able now to use this schema, this model, that is, to create a record in the database. So now right here, all I'll do, I'll call a function actually, and this function, I'll call it create order. I'll pass in the customer, and also I'll pass the data, because we can now receive those details from them. And that is all I need to do right there. Now let's create this create order function. So at the top here, before these post requests, and maybe before the Stripe webhook, I can come right here and I can say create order. Now right here, you can say const create order will be equal to, this will be an async function, so I'll use async here to begin with, and we will receive the customer, and also we will receive the data, and we will use another function, and we can be able to create our order right here. So first of all, we should pass the customer cart data, like the cart items. So right here we can say const items will be equal to, we use json.pass, and we invoke these, and we say customer, and then dot metadata, and then dot cart. So that will give us our cart items right there. And then we can go ahead and create a new order. So I can say const new order will be equal to new order. We bring in this model that we created, we invoke it, and we should pass the different properties right here. So we should have the user ID. The user ID will be available in customer dot metadata, and then dot user ID. We should have the, did we include customer ID right here? User ID. We should also include a customer ID. So let's add a customer ID here. So this is the ID for the customer from Stripe. This is the user, the currently logged in user from our MongoDB. So let's have customer ID, and it doesn't have to be required actually. So I'll just save that, and then right here I can have the customer ID. It's good to have all this info for you to track the order. In case of any issues, you can be able to resolve it. This will be available in data.customer. Remember, when we created our customer, we included the customer and then customer ID right here, and data.customer will give us this particular ID. Now right here we can have the payment intent ID. So I can say data.payment underscore intent. So I'll go ahead and add this payment intent at our model right here so that it doesn't throw any error. So type here will be string. I'll save. So right here you can have your products as the items. So products, these cart items, those are the products that the customer ordered. And then let's have subtotal now. Total. These will be available in data dot amount and then dot subtotal. Actually not dot subtotal, but amount underscore subtotal. Amount subtotal and then amount total. So they are there, okay? All this information is coming from there. So let's also have total. I'll just duplicate this one. And then instead of subtotal, we have total. And we will have data dot amount total. Another thing that we should have is shipping. This will be available in data dot customer and then underscore details. And then now right here I'll have payment status, which will be data dot payment status. Yeah, finally we are there. I'll save. Now we have created this new order and we can now be able to save it to the DB. So what I'll do right here, I'll just use the try and the catch block. So try there. Since it's an async action, it's good to do this. In case of an error, we can log that error to the console.log of the error. And then now right here, we can be able to await new order dot save. So we save it to the DB, and right here we can have const saved order to be equal to await. Okay, we don't have this equal sign here. Oh, sorry. New order dot save. And then now right here, I can log these saved order to the console. So if we get it, then it's saved. So console.log of, let's say, processed order saved order. I'll save. Okay, cool. Now we are like creating an order and saving it to the DB and logging that order to the console like that. Also, I'll fix that. Cool. Let's save and let's see if we have any error at the console. We actually do. Invalid schema configuration, shipping schema type definition is invalid. We have shipping to be data.customer. Let's go to the order here. So this should be capital. I will save. And there we go. Cool. Fingers crossed this works so that we end the video. I'm already tired for real. Yeah, just reward me by subscribing. I'll click checkout. And this is processing. And there we go. Let's see if we have any error so far. Nothing. And let's see if it fired some events. Yeah, let's now proceed and check out. And then now right here, I'll include all this stuff and I'll pay. Fingers crossed. Let's see if it works. It's processing. There we go. Let's see if we have any events raised. They were raised. Let's see if we have any console logs right here. And we don't. While we should be having checkout session complete. Okay, it had not list all those events. Let's see now. There we go. It's working actually. Let's see what we have. Processed order. We have user ID, customer, payment ID, and now this is being saved in the DB because this is the saved order that we returned. So this is awesome. It's working. I'm happy about it. So if I scroll, you see this is the console log that you are getting and the saved order, which is now having all these properties right here. Okay, user ID, customer ID, payment intent, products, subtotal. Let's actually explore it further. Yeah, it has the user ID, the customer ID, the payment intent. We have now our products here with all the details that we included: ID, name, brand, description, image, cart quantity, subtotal, total, shipping. Yeah, and now we have a record in our database which you can fetch from the DB and be able to show to the admin or the user. Pretty nice. Yeah, so let me give you a quick recap. What is happening and why have we gone through all this? Once we come right here, we click checkout. What is happening is that we are creating what we call a payment intent. Once we create the payment intent, we are processing the payment and paying to Stripe. Once we pay to Stripe, Stripe is keeping this information, but we don't have this information in our own database, and we haven't clicked on any button for us to save this information in our own database. So we want to create an order when payment is successful only. And what we do, we make use of the Stripe webhooks. So we raise the webhook, like we raise the event, that is the checkout session complete. Once we raise that event, the first thing that you should be doing, which I haven't done, is to verify that that event comes from Stripe for security reasons. Once that is verified, you'll be able to get the data and the event type, and you'll be able to create an order like these. Okay, but for my case, I went ahead and used the data and the event type directly from the request body without the verification, because my verification fails for some reason. And when I find that reason, I'll let you know at the comment section. And now down here, what else is happening is that we are creating now an order using the customer and the data that we get from Stripe. And we created the model and we are able to use it right here. We save the order to the database and we log that order right here at the console. And another thing that you can be able to do is that at this point where we have created the order, you can also send an email to the customer that your order was successfully created. Actually, you can do it right here where we have, you can do it right here. Let me show you where you should do it. Once you have this, you can send an email that the order was successfully created, and also you can include all the details about that order in that particular email, and that way customer will know that yes, I'm safe, everything is fine, and if there is any issue, you can tell them. But yeah, that is it for this video. If it was helpful, please make sure you leave a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, stick around, and I'll see you in the next one.